All right, ladies, let's begin. Let's begin with day one of Menopause Reimagined. So whether you are in perimenopause, which can be as early as, 35, some women, or even earlier, or some women get thrown into early menopause because of health situations, a partial hysterectomy, or just because you are going into perimenopause, women are earlier and earlier. So whether you're in your early 30s or whether you are in your late menopause, which would be 60 really to 75, and I am in that bracket, you're in the right place, because we're going to be covering everything that you need to know. And I think some people think, oh, menopause is this really short little window of time. But what you'll really understand, certainly from what I'm going over today, is that this is a large chunk of time. It's a large span of time. So you can let me know, let us know in the chat, where are you? Where are you on your journey, on your sort of hormonal changing journey? And even let us know how old you are. Again, my team are here and they are looking in the chat. And if you're watching, the recording, the replay, then you're very, very welcome too. I'm 60. I turned 60 this year, so that's where I am. All right, so I am going to share my screen because I have a little presentation ready for you. And let's just see, I'm hoping that everybody can see the presentation screen. Hopefully you all can. Give me some thumbs up. I know my team will give me some thumbs up. Great. Okay. So I'm calling this workshop this week, Menopause Reimagined, because I really believe that as we get older, there's so much sort of negativity and fear and upset about all the changes that we're going through, that being able to really reimagine what this time could be for you, and that in fact the time when our hormones change, and particularly when you get into menopause, the sort of middle menopause, early menopause and late menopause, I believe this is a time and an opportunity for us to love and nurture ourselves on a whole different level. And this is just so beautiful and exciting to see this next chapter of your life exactly as that. It is an opportunity, not a handicap. It is an opportunity to grow, to up level, to upgrade, to change, to go deeper, to find your wisdom, to find your purpose. And we're going to be getting in that today. So I'm going to show you what we're covering today, but for the purposes of this workshop, it is just 3 days and it is quick. So we're going to go about an hour a day, try to be there, stay for the whole thing, because often the most important part is towards the end of each day. So I don't want you to miss anything. Try to show up live for each of the workshops, because if you're live, and I know some of you will watch the recording, you'll get so much more out of it. You can interact in the chat. As I said before, my team are here, Catherine and Coach Wendy, so they can look at questions, they can field questions, they can interact with you, you can interact with each other. It is way better that you're here live. Now, today I am going to be just going through, and I'll show you what we're covering. Tomorrow, I am going to be leaving a lovely time for Q&A. So again, better if you can show up live tomorrow, because live tomorrow is going to be really going into strategy and nutrition. And so you're going to want to be there live for me to be able to answer your questions. Okay, so what we're covering today, understanding symptoms, the hidden pitfalls of ignoring symptoms, 3 mindset tools and practices for transformation, the old way and the new way, the 6 critical shifts you need to change how you experience the next chapter of your life. I'm going to repeat that, the 6 critical shifts you need to change how you experience this next chapter of your life. Okay, now for those of you who don't know me, get to know me a little bit. So I'm Sophie Giuliano, and I'm founder and CEO of Ignite Your Life, which is a methodology that completely transforms a woman. Mainly the women that I work with are over the age of 40. Many women that I work with are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s at a time of their life when they think, well, I've just got to settle for these unpleasant symptoms and for my life getting worse and for my body to, start falling apart as I get older. So I've helped hundreds and hundreds of women to do completely the opposite. So I'm a New York Times bestselling author. I'm a board-certified holistic nutritionist. I'm a certified weight management specialist and a certified mindset coach, and have appeared over, some of you might have seen, over the last, certainly, I'd say 15 years on many sort of TV shows and daytime shows that you've probably seen, helping women, to really dial in their health and wellness. So I specialize in helping women over 45 to banish belly fat, lower inflammation, lower risk for disease, increase insulin sensitivity, gain lean muscle mass, gain bone mineral density, lessen menopausal symptoms, and fall back in love with themselves and their life. So who's up for that? Who is ready for that? Because to me, it's all about creating a body that you want to live in, a body that you want to be in, rather than one that you want to escape from, right? Because otherwise we're always looking for the escape. Oh, when I can go away or go on vacation or go do this or anything to escape from this that I'm not comfortable in right now. Ladies, I change the script on that. Let's get you in a place where you're not only comfortable with the body that you're living in, but you're actually feeling fantastic. So you can fully enjoy this short experience that we have, relatively short experience that we have of our precious life. So no matter where you are in your health journey today, it's not your fault. Okay, so a lot of the time, and you're going to hear me talk about this a lot, I hear women going, oh, I'm in ill health, I've gained weight, I have all these symptoms, I haven't taken care of myself, and yada, yada. Well, I want you ladies to take a sigh of relief, and I want to tell you it's not your fault. You just didn't know what to do and how to do it, and you didn't have a strategy that works with your body and your psychology instead of against it. And that is what I do. That is what my Ignite methodology is all about. Next, you don't have to settle. You will hear people saying time and time again, and even doctors, well, you've got to just, settle. This is menopause, or this is your time of life, or this is whatever you're dealing with, and you don't have to. And next, the solution is simple, but it's not necessarily easy. Don't confuse the two. I think if women go, well, it should be easy. Well, if you think about it, doing anything worthwhile in your life, making any big, huge, transformative, worthwhile changes in your life, I'm going to ask you, let us know in the chat, think of things that you've done in your life where you have affected great change in your life or the lives of others, right? Was it easy? Yes or no? Let me know in the chat. Of course it's not, but it does need to be simple, because if it's complicated and confusing, you're not going to do it. So the old way, let's talk about the old way, the thing that you might have done in the past, right? That honestly, I'm just going to be honest, it just doesn't work. So the old way is fixating on that one thing, just one area. It could be anything. It could be cutting carbs, counting calories, intermittent fasting, walking more, 10,000 steps, resistance training, more cardio, less cardio, supplements, collagen supplements, weight loss supplements, you name it, gut health supplements, cleansing, juicing, relaxation, breath work. The list goes on and on. You only have to be in your social media feed to see that list, right, going. Now, while some of these things might be useful as an overall holistic strategy, fixating on that one thing is not going to get you the results that you want, the outcome you want. And I want to be really honest and clear about that. The new way is a holistic solution that speaks to all 5 pillars of lifestyle medicine. So you can't get away from that. It has to be holistic if you want to get beautiful, lasting, holistic results: nutrition, physical movement, stress management, sleep, and community. So let's now look at symptoms. So if you registered for this workshop and you took the quiz, you will have got given a handbook. And in that handbook, I go over all of these main symptoms based on the symptoms that you probably checked off in the quiz. And I've given you this little handbook with lots and lots of here's what might help. So you have that. That is my gift to you for joining this workshop. So when we look at these symptoms, as I said before, perimenopause, early menopause, late menopause can span 30 years. So we're not just talking, I think it's a real misconception to think, some of the women that we've spoken to this week, they're like, oh, this isn't relevant to me because I'm not in menopause anymore. Well, wait a minute. I'm 60, I'm in late menopause, and I'm going to be in late menopause for at least the next 10 years of my life, with many of the symptoms that are listed here, right? So it is a very large expanse of time. And that's why I'm so passionate about doing this workshop this week, because it's not like, oh, a blip in time and I'm going to be over that and everything's going to be better. This is your life. This is your life for the next 20, 30 years. And in fact, it's your life, because what you do now and the lifestyle changes that you make now will affect who you are going to be in 30 years' time, your future self. And if there's one message you will hear on every single workshop I do, we want to really focus on our future self. It's called prospection. Instead of focusing on everything that's wrong now, I'll get into that in a moment. We really want to focus on, who do I want to be? How is this going to play out? How do I want to be showing up as a 60-year-old, 70-year-old, 80-year-old? But with all these symptoms, ladies, in this slide, I just want to say that there is a solution, right? And you don't have to settle. And for many of these symptoms, you will need to find an OBGYN or a doctor who can offer you solutions and really listen to you. So don't ever think, oh, I've just got to settle with somebody saying, oh, you just got to, lose weight or eat, exercise more. This is what I hear so many women coming to me. Their doctors go, well, you're pre-diabetic, you're overweight, you just just eat less or cut carbs or whatever. Or if it's menopausal symptoms, it can be very confusing. So my biggest piece of advice is that if you are suffering from perimenopausal symptoms, if you're deep in menopause with hot flashes, worry, and more anxiety, low energy, aches and pains, brain fog, suddenly it seems almost overnight you're getting weight around your midsection, etc. Don't settle. I'm going to give you the lifestyle changes that you can make, which are going to mitigate all of your symptoms by a very, very large percentage. And you also need to work with a healthcare professional who listens to you, who hears you. More on that in a moment. So the most important thing is, regardless of all these symptoms, that you don't ignore the 5 root cause symptoms. So there are 5 root cause symptoms that underlie so many of these menopausal symptoms and symptoms that you are experiencing in your life. Now, these are they. And I want you to let us know in the chat if you have any of these symptoms or all of these symptoms, because actually a lot of them go together. Inflammation, as felt by aches and pains in your body. Maybe you're getting some arthritis, some osteoarthritis, maybe skin changes. That can very often be reflected in gut health issues as well. But inflammation, low energy, weight gain around your midsection, high LDL cholesterol. LDL is the bad cholesterol. No matter what your doctor or healthcare provider tells you and says, oh, but it's fine, your ratio of your good cholesterol and your bad cholesterol is fine, so you don't need to worry. That has been debunked in the scientific community. You do need to worry if you have high cholesterol levels. And the really great news is I'm going to show you how you can naturally bring those levels down through lifestyle and nutrition. And that I'm getting into tomorrow, and insulin sensitivity. But these symptoms all go together. Now, you might well be asking yourself the wrong question. So what I often hear as a coach across the board is women asking themselves the wrong question. And I'm going to make this really simple for you. And you might want to write this down. If you are asking a why question, very often a why question is a little bit punitive and it keeps you stuck, right? Why am I like this? Why have I gained weight? Why do I have these aches and pains? Why do I feel so terrible? Why can't I stick to anything? Why do I always fall off the wagon, right? If you ask your brain that question, that why question, your brain will go into your subconscious and find an answer or evidence which will often exacerbate the condition and almost give you more of what you don't want. It's not going to lead you to a really powerful solution. So what I want you to start learning to do right away is to ask yourself a what questions. A what? What needs to happen? What can I do? What's the solution? What needs to happen? So then if you ask that, what have I got? What is working? This is what I ask. If any of my clients are on today, you know this one, okay? What's the gift in this challenge? That is the most empowering kind of question that you can ask yourself. And back to the symptoms and back to going to your doctor or your OBGYN, that's a more powerful question. Go with your list of symptoms. Because can you suddenly feel that it feels really empowering? Oh no, why have I got this? Why is this? Well, hello, you're in perimenopause, menopause, late menopause. But if you go in and you're super empowered, and okay, what has to happen? What do I need to do? What's a really great solution for me? What does the evidence-based science say? That's a really powerful way to frame a question. So just think about that as you learn, as I teach my clients to do, to coach themselves. Now, the other thing that you might be experiencing is a loss of identity. And this can really happen. And I see this happening in women mostly over the age of 50. It's like what I used to be, what I used to feel like, how I identified, I am this, fill in the blank. I am a positive woman. I'm a career woman. I'm high achieving. I'm successful. I'm a mom. I'm busy. There was an identity. And that identity speaks also to your sense of value, doesn't it? Of how you value yourself. So do you identify with any of this? I feel empty. I feel irrelevant. I'm not healthy. That's an identity thing. If you're identifying with somebody who's got all this host of health conditions, they may be there. We're not denying that they're there. But if that becomes your identifier and that is disempowering you, then I would encourage you and invite you to create a different identity around that. Instead of I'm not healthy and I have all these health issues. Well, actually, again, there's the question, what part of you is healthy? What part of you does feel alive? What part of your body is working, right? I've lost my vibrancy. I'm negative. I've lost my spark. And this is the big one. And please let me know in the chat if you've ever said this to yourself, said this to a friend, said this to somebody else. I don't feel like myself anymore. Has anybody ever felt like that? I just don't feel like myself. And that is a loss of identity, isn't it? Because the self that you used to feel like when you felt energized and productive and excited and attractive and valuable, right? That's the part that we go, oh, I don't feel like that anymore. So let us know. Let us know in the chat. And again, it's not your fault. You just don't have a way to know, or you haven't had a way to know how to shift this identity. And that's exactly what I do. Now, your 7 human needs. So we have human needs identified originally by Maslow and various other coaches, but the way that I do it is a little bit different. So we all have the following human needs. We have a need, obviously, and this is the biggest piece, health and physical wellness. Because if we don't have that, then, we in many ways that's when things really fall apart. I love the quote, which is, health is the crown on the well person's head that only the sick can see. Okay, so that's ground level, that's ground zero, our health and physical wellness. And then we have a need to feel safe. We have a need for certainty. We have a need to feel significant and valuable. We have a need for love and connection. We have a need for variety and playfulness and excitement. We have a need for growth, to always feel that we're growing. And we have a deep need for spiritual connection. So the blue zones, so most of you have heard, has anybody seen the Netflix documentary Live to 100 on Netflix? Let us know in the chat if you have. It's a great documentary. I think most of you are aware of Dan Buettner's research that he's done over the blue zones. And I'll be referring a little bit to the blue zones throughout this workshop this week. 5 areas of the world. There's a 6th one now, the 6th blue zone that's been identified in Singapore, that they do not anymore, but they used to have the highest level of centenarians, men and women in their 90s and over 100 who were healthy. And what's very interesting to me is to tie these needs in, because in the sort of research that I've done, these are the needs that they are meeting naturally in their day-to-day life through their lifestyle in the blue zones. So what you really want to think about is, how can you meet every single one of those needs at a higher level? How can you meet every single one of those needs at a higher or the highest level? And I believe that over the age of 50, when you're in early and late menopause, is the most beautiful, powerful time to learn to meet your needs at a higher level. There's the opportunity. Who wants to learn how to do that? Now, let me explain, just quickly going back to this slide, what I mean by this. So health and physical needs. Well, how can we meet those? How can you meet those at a higher level? Well, I'm going to show you how to do that this week. A higher level, meaning you can get healthier and you can get well without and release weight and release belly fat without taking medications. You can do it naturally and holistically. That will make you feel very empowered and good. That is meeting that need at a higher level. The one that I want to double click on is certainty. Okay, that is a need that we all have. Feeling safe, feeling certain in who we are and what we're doing and our path forward. Now, some of us meet our need, and very, very many women, when I start working with, meet their need for certainty, for feeling safe and comfortable, right, through things like comfort eating, or overworking, or hours of now, no blame, shame, judgment here. We all do it. Let me know in the chat. Please be willing to be vulnerable and authentic. We're all women here. It's a safe place, I promise you. But sometimes we do that because we go into menopause, we don't know how to do it. And then things that we've, reward systems that we've set up for most of our lives, it could be overeating, it could be comfort eating, it could be now hours on social media, doom scrolling, Netflix, procrastinating. There's all sorts of things that we do, oddly enough, even though they're habits that we don't want to do, we've set up a system. That's how I meet my need. It's the only way I know how to meet my need for certainty and comfort. And what I teach my clients to do is how to meet that need at a higher level. And when you learn how to meet all of these needs at a higher level, that's when your whole life changes and you're in the driving seat and you're empowered and you feel so good about yourself. Because the thing is with these needs, you can't pretend they're not there. They are, right? They are there. You need to feel significant and valuable. You need, obviously, to feel a sense of love and connection. You need to have variety in your life. You need to grow. I always say you grow or you go. And this is particularly true in your 50s, 60s, and 70s. Are you growing, exploring? Are you curious? Are you growing or are you going? Okay, so 6 critical shifts and skills to address inflammation, visceral fat, low energy, and optimal health, and meet your 7 human needs. So what I'm talking about here is the root causes that we talked about, and many of you have identified, and thank you all for being so honest. And how can we address those? And again, we're going to be really going into the strategy and the nutritional strategy tomorrow. But these are the shifts to address those and simultaneously your 7 human needs. 1, put your oxygen mask on first. 2, master your mindset. 3, connect to your future dream self. 4, menopause-proof, age-proof your diet through optimal nutrition. 5, optimize your fitness for menopause and beyond. 6, learn how to regulate cortisol levels for better sleep. So these are the 6 critical shifts. Today, I'm going to be covering in the time that we've got left the first 3, which are all mindset shifts. The thing is, ladies, as a certified mindset coach, as well as a board certified nutritionist, I bring these 2 areas of expertise together because I believe that we need both. And where so many women come unstuck is they're either going, oh, I've just got to kind of work on my mental state and my mindset, or most of the time is I've just got to get the strategy dialed in. But here's the thing, if your mindset isn't dialed in and you don't have mindset tools to deal with self-sabotage, to deal with procrastination, to deal with how you talk to yourself every single day, to move you into an empowering mindset state, if you don't have those tools, then everything downstream of that suffers. And so that's why I am dialing in on that piece today. All right, so this is the first piece right here. So put on your oxygen mask first. So you've probably heard that little saying before, right? You're on a plane and they always say, look, if anything is happening, if the plane's going down, you've got to get yourself sorted first before you can help anybody else. Now, the women that I work with, and I'm sure you are the same, are the most caring, loving, beautiful, open-hearted women. As women, we want to fix, right? We want to care. We are caring. We are fixers. We are carers. Most of us have spent our lives raising children, maybe in really, high achieving job where there's enormous demands made of us in our jobs, right? We are taking care, if you're in my sandwich generation now, as many of the women I work with are, we've got children that need a lot of help, maybe young adult children finding their way in the world. We've got elderly parents who need care, and are sick, and we are doing a job, right? So there's a lot going on. So it's safe to say that I'm going to believe that some of you, and again, let us know, have you let your needs slip to the bottom of your to-do list? When you wake up every morning and you've got this to-do list, or you get to the end of the week, I'm going to bet that your needs, you attending to your health and wellness, those needs have started to slip because you're so busy saying yes to everybody else. because very often we're also motivated by, many of us are, again, you can let me know in the chat, are you a perfectionist? I've got to do everything perfectly. I've got to be there for everybody perfectly. Most of my clients are recovering perfectionists, right? Most of my clients are recovering people pleasers. Is that you? That is me. That is what, two of those things I have recovered or am still recovering from. People please, I've got to say yes, because I don't want to disappoint. I don't want to offend you. I don't want you to disapprove of me. I don't want to hurt your feelings, right? I'm seeing lots going on in the chat here. So we end up going yes, 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 yes to everything because we think we should. And it's coming from a place of guilt. Oh, I guess I should. But when you are giving and being there and serving from a place of guilt, I would say that that's not the most empowering place to serve from. We all want to serve others, but you need to serve from a full cup. If you're trying to serve from an empty cup, if you're drained and burned out, and you've got all these symptoms going on and you're not taking care of you, then you cannot be of maximum service to those around you and those you love and in the workplace, right? So saying yes to yourself often does mean saying no to other people. Or I'll put this differently. Saying no to others is saying yes to you. It's saying yes to your soul. It's saying yes to your needs. It's saying yes to those deep emotional needs that you have. And if you keep on saying yes to others and not learning, excuse me, I've got to let my dog's got a need here. I'm letting my dog, go on, little guy, he's trying to get out of here. But if you keep on saying yes to others, you are violating yourself. That is what happens. And so much of the work that I do with my clients is teaching them how to set these boundaries, and really, really strong boundaries. And what you really need to understand, and what I've learned over the years, is that I am not responsible for how you think, act, and behave. I'm going to repeat that, and you might want to write it down. I am not responsible. If I say, no, I can't do this, or I'm not available, or I've got to take care of me first, so no, not now, I am not responsible for how you think, act, or behave. I am just responsible for how I think, act, and behave. And the women who have worked with me a long time have got this so dialed in that how they show up for their families, for their workplace, and for the world is as a woman who really honors herself. And nobody thinks ill of them for going, this is what I can't do this now. I am taking care of this. I'm taking care of my health, my wellness, my exercise, or I'm doing my meditation, or I'm doing this. This has to come first, and then I will get to this. And so that's one of the most important things that we need to start with, is putting your needs first and on top of your to-do list. Because if you do that, then you will be able to serve from a very full cup. Next is mastering your mindset. So mastering your mindset. So we hear this a lot, don't we? We hear mindset, mindfulness, meditation. We sort of lump all that in, and it seems like something that's like, oh, it's kind of over there. I haven't got time for all of that. I'm putting out fires. I can barely get my own time together to, make a smoothie in the morning or whatever it is. But mastering your mindset is actually relatively simple. Again, you're going to hear me over and over say it's simple, but it's not easy. But the simplicity is that mastering your mindset is getting your awareness online. It's turning your awareness online. It's almost like you're switching your awareness on. And when you switch your awareness online, you then are able to witness yourself. You can witness yourself. You can witness what you're going through. You can witness your thoughts. You can witness you. It's like taking a step away. It's like if you're on a train, right? And the train is your mind and your busyness and all the difficult emotions and everything that you're going through. And you get off the train and you step onto the platform. and you watch the train. Okay, you're watching the train going past like that. That's what I'm talking about. And this is one of the most important things that you will learn to do. It's not something that you just do once or twice a day. It's something that you can start integrating and learning, and it is a practice. Because when you do that, you separate yourself out of the drama and the difficulty and the challenge, and then you're able to be resourceful and to truly deal with whatever's going on and to shift your emotional state. And when you know how to shift your emotional state, it's so empowering that it'll change everything. It'll change your relationship with your children, your parents, every relationship you have with people, places, and things. When you learn that you can shift your emotional state, but the only way you can do that is to switch your awareness online and to be able to witness and watch what you're going through. There's a big difference between I'm anxious, I'm irritated. The difference when you turn your awareness online is, I'm experiencing some anxiety and some irritation right now. Can you see the difference? Can you feel the difference? Let me know in the chat. You're picking up what I'm laying down, ladies. So there's a practice that we do very, very often well, this is a tool actually that I teach my clients, and it's called RAIN. And I have a lot of acronyms that I work with because they're just so easy to remember. But RAIN is an acronym for recognize. So, I recognize. It's a pause. RAIN is a pause. I press the pause button when I'm in the throes of anxiety or irritation or upset, which, hello, in perimenopause, early menopause, and late menopause, this is where we really need these tools, right? I pause. Press the pause button. When agitated, press the pause button and recognize. The first thing is recognize, turn your awareness online, recognize, I am experiencing. Now you're not fighting it anymore. Now you're not resisting it. Now you're not pushing it down. You're recognizing and allow it. The next thing is I'm just going to allow myself. I'm going to allow these emotions to process. If you don't allow it, then you're going to push it down and it will come back to bite you. You have to validate your feelings. You have to validate your emotions. They're called emotions because it's energy in motion. So if you say, I shouldn't be feeling like this, I've just got to move on, I'm too busy, I'm in chronic stress, whatever it is, that you're not giving yourself a few moments. It does not have to take hours or years in therapy. It can just take a few moments to allow, where is it in my body that I'm feeling this overwhelm or fear? Is it in my throat? Is it in my chest? Where is it? I'm just going to take a few breaths and I am going to acknowledge it like you would acknowledge a child. Who's got children here? Now, many of you have got children here, going through a difficult time, fallen off their bicycle, somebody was mean to them, right? You're not just going to ignore that. You're going to fully validate. Come here. Let's recognize what's going on. Allow. They want to cry. You're not just going to go stop crying. Allow it. Give them a hug. Where does it hurt? Where are you feeling it, right? And then the I is investigating. And this is where we can start investigating and looking at the story that we're telling ourselves, because there's always a story. Write this down. We are meaning-making machines. Write it down. I'm a meaning-making machine. We make meaning of everything that happens to us. And very often the meaning we make is very disempowering. Okay, this such and such happened. My boss said something to me. So you'll do RAIN, like recognize I'm feeling anxious, allow, where is it, feel it, process it. Because when you process it, it just goes. All the power is gone out of that emotion. And then when that happens, we can start investigating and going, what is the meaning that I'm attaching? What is the story that I'm telling myself? The meaning I'm making is that he or she said this to that, and that means that they don't like me and I'm a bad, person. I did a bad. We create these unbelievable stories, which most of the time aren't true. They're not true. So one of the questions that I teach my clients to ask themselves is, what else could be true? And then the N is just no judgment. Ladies, stop making wrong. Stop making wrong. We make wrong, we criticize ourselves. It's like we kill ourselves with one cut at a time. 90% of the time, you are going to make wrong of the way you're feeling or what you're going through. Give up the judgment and put down the gavel. Who's going to put down the gavel? Who's willing to learn? Who's excited to learn how to put down this judgment and this self-judgment that makes everything worse? It leads to blame and shame that many of you live in. Are you excited? Are you willing? Are you open to letting go of that judgment? Let Coach Wendy and I know in the chat. All right, moving on, connecting to your future self. Now, this is called, and I mentioned this earlier, this is called prospection. Okay, focusing on what you want and who you want to be. Because if you don't have a really clear idea of who you want to be and how you want to show up, right, then you're just waving around, you're just leaving everything to chance. You don't have a plan. Again, I've talked to you a lot about it can be simple, but it's not necessarily easy. And I need to help you create a strategy and a plan and a way forward that is simple. And the way that we do that is we start with the outcome you want, the outcome, not with what everything's going on now and how difficult and all the challenge and everything, but we start with the outcome. And the outcome is going to be very connected to your why. It's your purpose. It's what gives your life meaning. Let me explain what I mean by that. So my outcome, and if we were all to travel, let's go 20 years into the future, okay? Look at the age that you are right now, and what age are you going to be in 20 years' time, okay? So in 20 years' time, God willing, if I get given that time, I will be 80 years old. I will be 80, okay? So how do I want to be showing up for life and those I love when I'm 80 years old? Okay, that's prospection. And when I start really focusing on that and going, you know what? How I want to be showing up is I want to show up strong, vibrant, able to pick heavy things up off the floor like grandchildren, running around and thoroughly enjoying, God willing, if I have grandchildren, my grandchildren, having them be, oh my gosh, my grandma is so active, I can barely keep up with her. I've got so much that I've envisaged for my future self, my future dream self. She's curious, she's full of joy, she walks through life with gratitude and curiosity, right? You can look around you and see everything that you don't want with 80-year-olds right now. Women who are in ill health or worrying or constantly complaining or constantly negative, right? You can look at it that way and then back into, okay, so what do you want? How do you know how you want to be? So it's so important to have this idea, this clear idea, because I think in menopause, it's really important over the age of 50. It's not about, I'm looking at running down a beach in a bikini, like bikini body. No, I don't want to be in a nursing home, right? I don't want to be a burden to those I love. I want to be independent. I want to have my cognitive abilities to be as sharp as they can possibly be. I don't want to be falling, because my muscles aren't strong and I have sarcopenia. I don't want to be in ill health, right? On 5 different medications, which is the average amount of medications that most 80-year-olds are on right now. What about you? Okay. And then you dig into your why. Then you connect to your why. And then when you have that why and what gives your life meaning, then the habits and the strategy that I'm going to teach you this week, particularly on tomorrow and Thursday in the next 2 sessions, then you want to do those things. You're ready, sleeves rolled up. Show me, Sophie. Let's do it. Let's get into it because I have this purpose. I have this why. And all the time, when you have this very clear sense of that, okay, you ask yourself, as my clients do, what would she do? What would my future dream self do? How would she eat? How would she walk? How would she say yes to this or no to that? How would she put her needs first? How would she deal with chronic stress? We've got somewhere to go. The other pieces, ladies, when you start creating this vision of the future that you want, and it doesn't have to just be 20 years from now, it could be 5 years, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. With my clients in my program, we work on all different, so we play with it, okay? But unless you have that clear vision, and you can see now how passionate I am because I'm emotionally connected to that vision and that version of me. I need you to be emotionally connected. You need to be emotionally connected until you feel it. You can taste it. And you're like, yes, yes. Because then, my friends, you have something called hope. Hope. Write it down. And hope is your power pack. And if you don't have hope in early menopause and late menopause, particularly late menopause, then that's when things start going downhill. That's when you start losing your way. That's when you feel discouraged. That's when you feel fed up. That's when you feel like I've got to settle, or I may as well settle, right? You need hope. And you get hope from prospection, really focusing. So there's an exercise that I love to do, and I don't think I've got time to do it today, checking in with your inner counsel, but it's a beautiful way that we can go in, we can take a few breaths, we can check in with our inner counsel. That is that version of you, the highest and most evolved version of you, the most evolved, highest, wisest, most loving version of you. That is your future dream or your future desired self, okay? So we can do that. We can check in, and we do, a morning mindset ritual. It's like a magic morning mindset ritual. I certainly do it every single morning, where I make that connection. I make that connection to that inner counsel within as part of my spiritual practice. Remember, one of the human needs there, right at the top, was spiritual connection. All right. So what I want you to think about now, and I want you to get out a pen and paper. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to let my dog out because there's 2 doors and he's still whining. So give me a second. Go and get your pen and paper. All right, there we go. Sorry, ladies. I have 3 little rescue dogs, and they've all got varying different symptoms, shall we say. All right. So grab your pen and paper. Now, what I want you to think about now are the 5 things or symptoms that bother you the most. And I want you to write it down. And we'll do it in real time together. And some of you might pop it in the chat as well. And once you've written down your 5 symptoms, I would love it if you would pop it in the chat. Because I like to go in and I look at the entire chat afterwards, so I can really, really get to know you, so that for the next 2 days of the workshop, I can really speak to you. So to give you an example, what it could be. So it could be belly fat. I've got visceral fat. I've got belly fat. I hear this all the time, and I just can't get rid of it no matter what I do. Aches and pains. I wake up, I don't know where they came from. I've got more aches and pains, and I feel like I'm, getting old. Feeling old and frumpy. That could be one that bothers you. Maybe you're like, nothing that I wear, I don't look good in anything that I wear. Suddenly I think I look frumpy. I saw myself in a photo the other day and I was like, oh my goodness, that's me. So that could be one. Feeling exhausted could be one, just absolutely tanked out and exhausted. Yours doesn't have to be these 5. I'm just telling you some of the ones that I hear a lot about. I've lost my spark. I don't feel like myself anymore. All right. So write them down, and you can pop them in the chat as well. So we can have a good look at that. So I'll just give you a moment here. Oh, the chat is going crazy. I love this. Ladies, you're in for such a treat this week. I'm so excited for you. What you're going to learn over the next couple of days, you're going to walk away with, you're going to feel so incredibly empowered. So thank yourself, by the way, for showing up for this workshop today. Thank yourself for showing up. Live, for those of you who made the time to do this. And I know a lot of you are working, and if you're listening to the replay, good for you for taking the time, because I believe nothing happens for accident. I believe you did not find this workshop or find me by accident. I believe you're meant to be here, and you're meant to hear something of what we are going through this week. That is my belief. Okay, so you've got the 5 things that bother you the most. There may be many, many, but I'm sure you can sort of go, I want you to really focus on, if I could change these 5 things, this would just be absolutely, I would just be so eternally grateful. And the fun that I have actually is the women that I work with in Ignite. Literally, these are the things that all of them are like, changed. These are not issues anymore. But how we start before we get into the strategy is this. So let's reimagine now each area. Okay. So this workshop is called Reimagining Menopause. Now, if you look at those symptoms, let's just go back to those symptoms there that I wrote down there. Okay. If I am fixating on those symptoms, right? Oh, my belly fat, oh, my aches and pains, and da, 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 da. If I'm fixating on that, if that's what's going on, oh, there's this going on and that going on, you say it to yourself, and then you say it to others, and you'll find that you're in groups. You could be in Facebook groups, and what you're going to find, because it's just a human condition, and oddly enough, in a perverse way, it's how we connect to other human beings, is we celebrate each other's limitations. Oh, that's so awful. Oh, I know how you feel. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's horrendous, right? In my community, we don't do that. We see you at the highest level, that we see what you're capable of. We see what you want because you've laid it down. You've put it in the ring. We see you showing up as the best, strongest, healthiest version of you. And we will not let you indulge in any story or any meaning that tells you that you can't be, do, and have that. I will say that one more time. We do not let you indulge in any story that tells you you cannot be, do, and have that. So if you keep focusing on the problem, what are you going to get more of? Somebody write this in the chat. What are you going to get more of if you keep focusing on the problem? You're going to get more of the problem. It's just the way it works. You've heard it before, where attention goes, energy flows. Right. And then we get into groups and family, it's our environment, our family, our friends, the Facebook groups, our social, and everybody just corroborates these limitations and this awfulness that we are living with. Not on my watch, ladies. All right. So let's go back and let's reimagine each area. This is your homework to do tonight. Okay, you're not going to be able to do this now because we are getting close to the end of today, but I'm going to get you to reimagine each area and do this. Don't just go, oh, no, do this work, because this is the first step of reimagining your journey, and then we put the strategy in place. But this has to come first. So I'll give you an example. When you imagine each area, and please write this down, I want you to write it in the present, as if it already is, as if it's already happened, the present positive. So instead of I hope to lose my belly fat, right? That's not present. You're just keeping it in the future. So if you're saying to yourself, I hope to lose my belly fat, well, in 10 years' time, you're still going to be hoping to lose your belly fat because your subconscious takes you at your word, right? I will lose my belly fat. Okay, your subconscious goes, okay, well, in 5-10 years' time, you're still going to be, I will lose my belly fat. You're just keeping it in the future. So it's got to be present, okay? And then we want to take the belly fat out because that's the negative. Because the minute you mention belly fat or low energy or hot flashes or whatever the symptom is, then you create a vision of that, a mental movie of that in your head. So I'm going to give you an example. I've turned all these around for you. So I've reached my ideal healthy weight and I love wearing form-fitting dresses and my favorite jeans. Yes. And I can tuck my shirt in and it feels so good, right? That's present positive. This was aches and pains. I can exercise without pain. I can't remember the last time I felt achy. So you're going to write it as if it has already happened, right? Next, I look at my reflection and I love what I see. I love the woman I see, okay? I have more energy than I know what to do with. I found my purpose and joy in life. Imagine, ladies, being in a group, and in my group, in my program, this is all you hear. This is all you hear because it's become a reality. But I want you to imagine for a moment being in a community and being in a group where this is what you hear morning, noon, and night, right? This is infectious. Health and mental health and emotional health, it's just as much as negativity is like a virus and complaining. And it affects everybody in the room, right? This is infectious in a really good way. You can imagine somebody going, yay. There's a lady who's 7 weeks into my program, 7 weeks, and she's released 20 pounds of weight that she's been carrying on her body, weighing her down, making her feel terrible, gone in 7 weeks, right? So she's celebrating that. Can you imagine being around women who go, I can exercise without pain? I had knee pain, I had plantar fasciitis, I had this, that, the other. I look at myself. There's a lovely lady who said she was actually on my last workshop, and she's in her 70s. She's 73. And she came to the program initially just hating herself. She had had 50 years of self-sabotage, despite being a really successful woman and grandmother. She'd raised children, grandchildren, successful career. And she finally got to a place where she said, I look at myself in the mirror and I love the woman who's looking back at me. I have more energy than I know what to do with. So this is what you want to be around. Okay, it's very important. You are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time around. All right, ladies, now I want you to choose to live at your full potential for the next 30 years. There is something called disability adjusted life years. And this is very much in the scientific literature, getting a little bit more into this tomorrow. What basically means that years that you could be disabled, right? Disabled meaning you can't get up out of a chair without assistance, need help walking along the street, have some kind of disability, have to spend a lot of time in hospital, in a doctor's office. Disability can be having terrible side effects from medications, and it goes on and on and on. But your disability adjusted life years can be reduced by a whopping 30% with a holistic lifestyle reset. Now, we're going to do a little meditation to finish off. And we're going to do this together because we have time, right? This is not even a 5-minute meditation. And you're going to love this meditation, right? But before we do, I just want to go over, in case some of you have to jump off early, what we're going to be covering tomorrow. Because today we've covered the mindset, right? And what I really get into, I've just given you a little touch of some of these tools, and you can watch this again, because these tools in of themselves are kind of are deep tools. And there's a lot that I've said and a lot that I've covered in such a short amount of time. So you can go over these tools again, but this is the sort of mindset overview, okay? But tomorrow, we're going to be really digging into strategy. So we're going to be talking about getting the specific outcome you want, understanding symptom interconnectivity, well, that's a mouthful, and how your solution manages multiple symptoms at once. And this is the beauty that you're going to walk away with tomorrow, is understanding that the solution that I'm going to give you manages all those root cause symptoms. They're all interconnected, but the solution is interconnected too. Top 4 myths when it comes to belly fat and inflammation, how to manage the root causes that we've talked about, why most healthy diets and one thing approaches fail and what to do instead, and matching your specific outcome with a customized plan for you. We are digging into nutrition big time tomorrow. So I want you to show up, notepad, pen ready. And at the end of tomorrow's session, I will leave time for those of you, obviously, who show up live for Q&A. And you really want to be live so that I can answer those questions. And my team are going to be collating questions all the way through. And then they're going to tell me what those questions are. And I'm going to get to your questions first. Okay. If you're watching the replay, you're still going to get a lot out of it, because I'm going to go over the questions, obviously, and you can watch this in the recording. And very often, well, not very often, all the time, if somebody has a question, then 100 other women are going to have that same question. Okay. So let's go back now. So am I going to see you tomorrow? Let me know in the chat right now. Are you showing up tomorrow live, ready to work, ready to get in, ready to learn your strategy? Are you doing it? You've learned today that you're putting yourself first, right? You're focusing on your future dream self. You're going to go away and do your homework, where you're going to look at those areas, those 5 top problem areas, and you are going to write down and journal, right? You saw how short my little things were. It can take you 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. And you're going to write down what you want, because I'm not interested in the story. We know the story, the symptoms, the la, 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 that, right? What I'm interested in as a coach, and what I want you to be interested in, because it interrupts that pattern of looking at the problem, is I want you to focus on what you want. What do you want? How do you want to be? How do you want to show up? And then write it down as if it already is. And then we're filling in with the strategy over the next 2 days. All right, ladies, let's do our little meditation. Here we go. Back to this little slide here. All right, so we're going to open up to your greatest good. All right, you ready for this? Beautiful. So what I want you to do now is to come into a comfortable position, feet firmly planted on the floor in front of you, and sit up with a lovely tall spine. So whenever we're doing any breath work or meditation, the key is ground yourself. So feet are flat on the floor, and always a tall spine. So if you find yourself hunched over or leaning over to one side, just unravel your spine, although you're creating space between every vertebrae. Because as far as I'm concerned, let's get taller as we get older, not shorter. So even here, we can create a little bit more space between every vertebrae. If it feels safe for you to do so where you are right now, gently close your eyes. If not, you can keep your eyes open. Eyelids are soft. Relax the jaw, relax the face. And let's take 3 nice deep breaths. Inhaling, long, smooth exhale. And see white light cleansing you and clearing you from head to toe, releasing any tension or distraction. Stay connected to your breath and bring yourself into the present moment now. Letting go of your to-do list, letting go of the past or what you've got to do later. Allow yourself to be fully present. Can you sense the sensation of your inhale? As it opens your heart, softens your shoulders, and can you sense the sensation of your exhale as you slowly exhale, as if you're letting air out of a balloon ever so slowly? And now, ladies, see yourself at the gate of receiving your good. Your good. The version of you that you wish to be, your highest good. The most evolved, happiest, vibrant version of you, and whatever that good is for you. See yourself at the gate of receiving your good. And there's a doorway on that gate, and it's open according to how much good you're willing to come into your life right now. I'll say that once more. There's a doorway on that gate, and the doorway is open according to how much good you're willing to have come into your life right now. See if the doorway is partially open or fully open. And if it's not fully open, see what's blocking it. And now see yourself receiving your good. Allow yourself to receive as much of that good as you feel comfortable with right now. You don't have to force it. You can receive more and more over time. And now gently come back into the room. If your eyes were closed, gently open your eyes and keep your gaze soft. And bring that abundance, that hope, that joy, that feeling of good. It's like a little flame that's flickering. We're going to breathe into it, and it'll grow and expand over time. Bring it back with you and know that you can create that, more and more of that, over the next few days and weeks and months. So we'll complete now by placing your hand on your heart, ladies. Connect to your beating heart. Connect to your heart center. Both hands on your heart and feel the beating of your heart. And breathe in to your heart center. This is where your wisdom is. This is where all your desires are. What makes your heart sing, that we have so often buried by the challenges and difficulties and demands of life. Breathe life into that. Because you can, and because you deserve. You deserve, certainly in this next phase of your life, for this to be the best chapter of your life. Breathe that in. The gratitude in, and exhale, release. All right, ladies, open the eyes. And that is it for today. All right, now I'm just going to stop my share here. Let's get back here. Stop share. All right, ladies. So I hope we've gone a little bit over, but I hope that was an interesting meditation for you, I'd encourage you just to, go away. Some of you will go, that was so interesting. I did see what was blocking it. There's something to really dig into. Was it you that was blocking it? Was it your thoughts? Was it your stories? Was it your beliefs? Was it somebody else? So there's a lot that you can sort of unpack there. If you're somebody who likes journaling, or you can let us know tomorrow when you come tomorrow. Okay. So have a beautiful rest of your day. And if you're watching the replay, make sure that you make a note of showing up and for yourself and watching all the recordings. And even better, if you could show up live tomorrow and tell your friends if you enjoyed the session today. It's not too late. And Catherine will, pop a little link in right now, the registration link. It's not too late. If you enjoyed the session, you're like, oh my gosh, this was something different than I thought it would be. Listening and working and being in this workshop with Sophie and Coach Sophie. If it's something you're like, oh, I want to invite my bestie or my friend or somebody I know, because they're going to learn so much over the next couple of days, and if you share the link that Catherine's popping in the chat right now, then they can watch the replay from today, which will be available a little bit later. And then they may decide that they want to join us live and join you live. So I really, recommend that you share this if you enjoyed it and if you found it powerful and if you're excited about the next couple of days, just share it with a friend and say, hey, come along. You really might learn something. All right. And Coach Wendy and I will be in the after party in the Gorgeous for Good Facebook group. For those of you who are in that Facebook group, that's a group that I think a lot of you might have joined, just to sort of check in. So if you've got any questions or anything burning questions from today, you can always pop into that group, and I'll put a little post there saying any burning questions, and we'll also post the replay there. So it'll be available on anything else. Catherine, is there anything else? Have I forgotten anything? Catherine, who is our lovely director of operations, who runs everything, right? She says I'm perfect. Catherine, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that. All right. Thanks for joining me, ladies. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.